Before this class started, I thought that trauma was random and could happen to anyone. I still believe this. However, I now know that certain circumstances and situations can put someone at greater risk of being exposed to trauma. Trauma can be generational. Um, because these different circumstances that contribute to trauma can be passed down from generation to generation. I think poverty is one example of this. I tend to have a negative outlook about life sometimes, but studying trauma and survivors of trauma have shown me that there's hope and that healing is possible in this world. There's hope, and patterns of trauma can be addressed and they can be fought. So, some things that were helpful in learning about trauma and how that impacts me as a professional. The first thing was that, in regards to survivors of trauma and trauma care, was the community resources blog. I found this so helpful to see just how many resources there are in the community. So many agencies and so many programs that are aware of trauma, and not only aware of it, but working to address its impact on survivors, whether that's in a school setting or a mental health setting. It's amazing to see. The second thing that I learned was how trauma impacts the body physically. It's fascinating to learn about cortisol and the fight or flight systems. Learning about these different biological processes helped me understand that responses to stressors and trauma are not something that can always be controlled. I feel better equipped to respond to those who have experienced trauma because I understand just how much it affects someone, and that doesn't include just emotionally or mentally. This person is affected in every single aspect of who they are. So that really, I think, will help me as a professional. So I believe that learning about trauma has allowed me to become more empathic, first and foremost. I no longer assume a certain standard that you should respond this way because of this, or this. There's no normal response to your life experiences. Each person is different and will react differently based on past experiences, based on genetics, whatever it is. No one is the same. I also think that I am better able to look at the whole picture. So instead of seeing someone act a certain way and wondering why they are acting that way, I can speculate about their response. I'm sure that in many cases, how someone is reacting would make complete sense if I just knew what their history was, what they've gone through in the past, what their family is like, what expectations, beliefs, whatever it is that they hold. How they're acting probably makes complete sense if you think about it. So having this insight will give me patience and help me to contribute to an environment that is trauma-informed and restorative, which is one of my goals in my work.